Hello everyone, I'm Kenneth of the Video Boys. Today I thought for a nice change of pace that I'd review a non-Hollywood, non-blockbuster film. I've also been looking to branch out into genres and stories not typically reviewed online. So let's begin. Calvary follows the good-natured Father James, played by Brendan Gleeson, who while in the confessional is threatened by a man who had as a child been raped by another priest. The man indicates that James is a good priest and that his death would cause a greater stir than if he was to kill a bad priest. The mysterious man gives James a week to put his house in order, and as we see the week unfold, we see the difficulties that a good man has to deal with in this town as the end approaches. What follows is a series of interactions between the priest and various parishioners who are, to varying degrees, sinners. We have James' suicidal daughter, the abusive husband whose wife is carrying on in an affair with a seemingly amoral man, the down-on-his-luck barman, the rich man who swindled others out of their money, the elderly American writer, the jaded doctor, the lustful, socially inept motorcycle rider, the inspector who uses male prostitutes, and a multiple murderer who's in prison. In each case, the person has something of a theological discussion with James, where they either seek to repent for or resolve their wrongdoings, or berate the priest for various reasons. All the while we gain insight into each of their characters and Father James. Behind all this is the continued controversy involving the abuse by the priest and the question of whether a well-intentioned good priest could make a positive change in the way the bad priests have made such a resoundingly negative one. Overall, I would say this was a well-done movie. The main character was remarkably well portrayed. I completely bought that this was a good man. The scenes of him interacting with the parishioners conveyed this well because they feature Father James going out of his way to provide guidance and advice for them. More specifically, the film starts with him noticing a bruise on a woman's face, and he goes out to determine for himself who had done it. He visits the elderly author, he comforts a grieving widow, and so on. That said, he wasn't good to the point of being one-dimensional. We learn from the story that he was once an alcoholic and that he had been slightly neglectful to his daughter when he went to become a priest after his wife's death. His theological discussions with the individuals also provide some nice insight into the conflicts inherent to what he does. His answers to his daughter about whether a suicidal person goes to hell, and to the murderer about whether or not he can ever truly be forgiven, really show us both sides of him. The part of him that's a priest, and the part of him that's just a normal guy. I grew to like him and was invested in the story. Likewise, Brendan Gleeson gives an amazing performance as the character. We really see him emotionally coming loose as the film goes along. The film's ticking clock narrative as we go through the days of the week, each of which is indicated on screen, leading up to his eventual confrontation with the man who threatened him, keeps us engaged with the story. We know that the mysterious person is one of the parishioners we've met, and we know that, based on the general attitude of the people in the town toward the priest, James will probably die in the confrontation. The tension in the film ramps up very nicely as the film moves forward. We gradually get more details about each of the characters Father James visits. We learn more about the general attitude towards him, and ultimately, as Father James personally struggles with the issues of the people, the film conveys well that this week for Father James is his version of Jesus' walk toward Calvary, the place of his inevitable death. The good man cannot live in the world of despicable people when we're shown how much misery loves company. All that said, I don't think this is a great film. It is a very thematically depressing film. Now, I don't mind depressing, serious films. I recently saw the movie Platoon for the first time and I thought it was very good. My issue with Calvary is how thickly the film lays its themes. There is a certain logic and realism to a good priest dealing with a lot of difficult issues with his parishioners. It is his job, after all. But to what degree these people convey their complete apathy and at times hatred towards him broke the believability for me. The film becomes blunt to the point of being manipulative. We get that the people dislike this guy, both for the crimes of the church, and that the guy is trying to make others better based on his own personal morals that don't align with theirs. But these people were cruel to the point of just being stereotypical assholes. We see them all react with complete apathy and almost amusement to the church being burned down. Then we're given one of the most manipulative events that can happen in a film. One of them murders Father James' dog. While these work in the context of the themes the film is trying to convey, I think it could have been done in a much more subtle fashion that didn't take me out of the film. Another issue, which may have been the result of my missing something, was a moment where it's shown that Father James is about to leave his town and go to Dublin, and the next scene is him back in the town. I just didn't understand if it was deliberate or a case of bad editing or something. So, the ultimate message of the movie for me was that a good man can't make positive changes in the way bad men can make negative change. In fact, the idea that misery likes company and that good men have to struggle to remain good seems to be what this film is aiming at. The film's maiden protagonist was very well portrayed. We see some of the characters grow and change in a realistic manner. At the same time, the film lacked the subtlety and nuance that I believe is needed in a film of this type. This was a good film, and if you're looking to gain some insight into the human condition, and for a really great performance by Brendan Gleeson, you may enjoy the movie. In fact, I think Gleeson's performance may be worth the price of admission, but there are certain elements that keep this from really being a great movie. So, those are my thoughts on this non-Hollywood, non-blockbuster indie film. If you've seen Calvary, what did you think of it? And what did you think of my review? I'm Kenneth of the Video Boy saying, take care.